Baby, keep on moving when the world gets you down. Sometimes I feel I'm losing, treading water, treading ground. So listen carefully, and when you hear that loving sound, run to it. Run to it that makes you whole. Tip the edge and then let go. Be dead afraid of the unknown and run. Run to it. Be dead afraid of the unknown and run to it. If this story is about anything, it's about being shit scared and doing it anyway. Over the summer of 2020 and 2021, I embraced the unknown and embarked on Te Araroa, New Zealand's long pathway. For those of us who aren't familiar, this is considered the world's toughest through hike, spanning a vastly varied terrain over 3,000 kilometres, and it took me about 4.5 months to walk its length from Cape Reinga to Bluff Motupohue. Along the way, I cried at the trees, I screamed at the ocean, I cursed at the fucking supplejack, I lost 3.5 toenails, about 7 kilos, I found happiness, connection and healing, and I wrote songs and story along the way to the rhythm of my broken heart and my walking feet. Departure is a constant. I think it's a constant thing in everything we do, from one breath to the next, from one thing, from one word, from this life to whatever the next is. Departure is a constant. And I'm going to share a truth about my departure on trail with you. And it's a truth that I lied to protect on more than a few occasions in TA discussions. And I don't like lies, and I'm not a stranger to them. And that's not the truth. The truth is, I never actually saw the starter post. This is the last time we're doing this show, and it's been so good to get that off my chest. So in my defense, the morning that I began, I had horizontal rain in my face and white fog, and there's this kind of Y section when you first start, and the point is you go down to the starter post and then you backtrack 300 or 400 meters and begin your journey. Well, I couldn't see that starter post, and I looked at my map and I thought, fuck this, I'm just going to cut through there. So I didn't actually start at the beginning. But it's amazing that I went in the right direction at all, because this departure for me was not some romantic step into the wild. It wasn't some well-planned adventure travel. Hell no. I had been in full Melbourne lockdown for 5.5 months. I was fresh out of my marriage, and I was full of blind hope and sickening grief. And ice cream straight from the tub, and burgers, and cheap Coke, and whiskey delivered to the door so many times we started getting discounts. But anyway, 4 months and 9 days after I departed the life that I had spent a decade building, on the most blustery November morning I could have chosen, at the northernmost point of Te Araroa, I started walking. And I was the very definition of shit scared and doing it anyway. If I had breath enough, I'd swim down and never come up. This whiskey is my drug. I have climbed, crashed and landed belong to the wild outside. I would swim, I would sink if it gave me the thrill I seek. I would love you just as much as me. And I've got love on top of dark water. I've got love on top of hope, on top of dark water. Very quickly just how much I had stepped out of my comfort zone while on trail. In the first 4 days walking 90 Mile Beach, I had blisters like trampolines covering my feet, and I was terrified being alone. And this is 4 days in. I had 4.5 months to go. But I held on to a quote from one of my favorite poets that goes, "Life expands in proportion to your courage." And so I walk on and on and on, down winding backcountry roads, over lush green paddocks, through thick gorse, through knee-deep mud, through waist-deep cow shit paddock water. I walk on. And at one point in Waitomore, I stop and I seriously consider sitting down and just waiting for somebody to come and rescue me. And it's about that point that I find my voice and I start singing to myself to walk on. And so each time I need to pick myself up, and there are many times along the way, I dig deep, I find that courage and my snacks, and then my voice, and I sing. Sinking down on high hills, seas of grass, watching as the moon chases the sun finally dark. Take me lying in your arms, take me fighting strong, take me weak, take me breathing fire to your soul. I walk on, ooh, I walk on. Save me from the river when my tears threaten the dam. Lead me, mother, feed me, mother, silence at your hand. Hold me in the morning light, hold me in your song. Take me gentle, take me seething, spitting in the sand. I walk on, ooh, I walk on, ooh, I walk on. And on and on and on and on, and I walk on and on and on. And as I make my way through Northland, I do finally find my rhythm. And I find that my rhythm is not that I'm a hiker with a set intention to get from A to B. My rhythm that I discover is that I stop a lot. I wander. I scuff my feet in the earth for the robin and the piwaka waka. I reach out and I touch texture. I explore hollow logs made fairylands. I listen for bird calls, and I spend a lot of time just staring into the treetops, trying to identify those birds. At one point, mid-step on this huge, never-ending staircase into a young Cody forest, I watch a tui battle for its dragonfly dinner. And this dragonfly is so impressive. It's huge and powerful, trapped in the beak of this tui. And it flaps its wings so hard and eventually gets loose more than a dozen times and then plummets down into the valley with the tui right on its tail. Eventually, it is dinner. But it's the most explosive display of acrobatics that I have ever seen. I find fulfilling company in trail angels, and I find comfort in fellow walkers. And as I make my way on, I watch Ranganui don robes of majestic purple and pink and blood red, and Marama wax and wane. I cross estuary, bridge, beach and road. I contemplate the necessity of the artist and what the hell it is I'm doing here. And why? And what am I going to do when I finish? I set that question aside and I walk on. Eventually I make my way into Auckland, coming down that east bit of coast where the coastline is like a moonscape pocked out from the ocean, and these huge cliffs support mighty Pahutakawa clinging on for dear life. And I'm transported to one of my early influences in Janet Frame's work, and a poem in particular. A stanza comes to mind that goes, "The trees that grow along cliff faces, having suffered much from weather, put out thorns, taste of salt, hags under matted white hair, parcels of string underneath, thumping the earth with their rebellious root foot, trying to knock up peace out of her deep sleep. I try to knock up courage in each of my steps, and I walk on." Now, the TA Trust provide some incredible resources and support for TA walkers. And usually when I read the trail notes for the section ahead, I get pumped, I'm excited, I'm prepared, I'm planning what's happening. The notes for the Te Araroa Ranges, however, did not get me excited.
Weather in the Te Araroa Ranges is notorious for deteriorating rapidly.
Be prepared for extreme conditions at all times.
Be prepared to wait out storms.
Snow can fall in any season.
Be sure to fill in the intentions book at the start of the track.
Views in the Te Araroa Ranges in clear weather are outstanding.
Never happens. So there have been few times in my life where I felt compelled to pray. And I like to keep a sense of wonder alive in all things, and I count my blessings. But to a particular deity or entity or God, I have very rarely sought protection or guidance or reassurance from fear in the form of prayer. Over the Te Araroa Ranges, I goddamn prayed. Getting up into the first mountain range, I did get one good view. I come up to the top of Richard's Knob and the low light is stunning. It's swaths of pastel colour, and the mountain ranges ahead are silhouette on silhouette. And up until this point, the only mountain that I've been up and over on trail is Parongia in the Waikato region. And while this is a beautiful and a challenging climb in its own right, this through hike is the second time that I've done that section, and there are steps and boardwalks, and the only real obstacle was a bit of mud, and Dad met me on the other side with cheesy scones and lashings of butter, so comparatively it was a stroll. I get up to the top of Richard's Knob, however, and the sunset is stunning. And I'm 13 hours into my day's walk, so I'm pretty exhausted, but the sunset is stunning. Legs are a little shaky, the sunset is stunning. Yeah, so the sun is setting. So I've got to get down and then across to the saddle, up and over the saddle, and then down into tree line, and then through the forest, and then to the hut. And I've got like 30 minutes of light. So that's about where my journey with prayer began. And an hour and a half later, when I crossed Butcher's Saddle in the dark, I fucking prayed. And when I got into the forest and my head torch starts spluttering in the pitch black from lack of battery, I prayed. And the next day, walking 8 hours in the pissing rain and then scrambling down a path that isn't a path anymore, it's a goddamn waterfall, to get to Nichols' hut and there's literally not a scrap of dry firewood. I prayed. And inching my way along these narrow ridge tracks that I swear I must remember narrower than they actually were, with little death drops either side, and it's white, like I can't see you in front of me. And I'm not great with heights anyway, guys, and the wind is screaming at me, and I prayed. And that night, going through the forest in the dark, when my head torch was working, and it hit the forest floor, and it came alive, like seething with life that I could never have imagined in the daytime. I prayed. And in awe at the complete transformation of my world from exposed ridges into these gnarly, thick-set forests where the trees are all twisted limbs and they're wearing their best shawls of moss. It's Mirkwood, it's magic, but real. And I prayed. And reaching Wai and jumping into that river at the coldest, deepest point and feeling my fear paralyzed by the water, I prayed. And reaching the church at the other side and finding Toby waiting for me with warm pizza and cold beer, I thanked God. To walk from Palmerston North to the church at River Parr took me 5 days. And on 2 of those days, I had the company, whether I liked it or not, of a young section hiker who appointed himself my protection and my entertainment. And he begrudgingly shared some ginger nut biscuits, and he talked incessantly. And because he hadn't yet learned to listen to the forest, he didn't hear me when I retreated from his pace to sing my prayer to the poorest trunks. Oh Lord, won't you protect me? Oh Lord, won't you protect me? I've seen too many things that I shouldn't have seen. Oh Lord, won't you protect me? Oh friend, won't you listen to me? Oh friend, won't you listen to me? I need to tell somebody all of my hopes and my dreams. Oh friend, won't you listen to me? Oh baby, you can love only me. Oh baby, you can love only me. I've been rejected by too many, you see. Oh baby, you can love only me. Oh mother, won't you shelter me and build me a home? Won't you need me, feed me, keep me safe and far from harm? Won't you guide me, won't you teach me, show me the true meaning of love? Oh mother, won't you build me a home? Oh teacher, won't you redirect me? Oh teacher, won't you redirect me? I've been crippled by anxiety. Oh teacher, won't you redirect me? Oh mother, won't you shelter me, build me a home? Won't you need me, feed over the Te Araroa ranges came in joy and in fear. And it's a strange combination of emotions that evoked in me a kind of comfort with the discomfort, an acceptance of the chaos, and intimacy with the fear that I think I've been seeking for quite some time now. One moment in particular where I really recognised the acceptance of the chaos was that night going through the forest in the dark and finally reaching the hut, and it was about 11 p.m. And for anyone who's ever been hiking, you know that you don't want to be that person that comes in when everybody else is asleep. So I performed my entire nightly routine on the balcony outside Te Motupohue hut. I unpacked my bag, I had a snack, I brushed my teeth, I had a little wash, I got changed. I even pulled my sleeping bag out of its case and wrapped it around me, ready to creep in and just jump on a bunk without disturbing anyone. And I opened the door so quietly, and there was no one there. Actually, about a third of the huts and the campsites that I stayed in along trail, I was alone. I feel like I kind of got COVID lucky. And each night that I spent alone, I steeped in the solitude. Just as much as I fantasized about the potential camaraderie of the next camp or hut. I would walk along and create a picture, a story in my mind that I was going to arrive and there was going to be all these hikers there, like-minded. There'd be no clash of character and no awkward conversation, and we'd all sit around the hut table and speak in ideas and raise our voices in song together, and it was a fantasy of a musical theatre moment. There was Pakatuhi Hut, where the skies were bloody and the acoustics were ideal, and I sang alone there for hours. There was Waiu Hut, with not enough bunks and way too many sandflies, where local hunters brought down wild geese and shared the meat, along with a packet of toffee pops, which was a weird combo, but you give a hiker food. There was Martin's Hut, the very last hut if you're southbound, and it's a shit show. You can't dry, you can't wash or dry anything. And when the aptly named Boost Boys arrived with mud caked over them, they were so fed up they just got on their sleeping bags with their muddy leggings up to here. There was Hunter's Hut, where a full moon painted the impossibly picturesque valley in silver light, and here I knew that I would be able to love again. There was my rough and ready campsite in the middle of Ratia Forest, the Hobbit House in Twizel. There was Aparima Hut, where I was invited to share a story or song, live my hut singing fantasy. But it didn't feel quite right when one of the young dock workers had literally just been evacuated for nearly clean cutting off his finger while digging the long drop. Yeah. And then there was Kiwi Burn Hut in Southland, where my friends that I was walking with, George, Dane, and I tried drying our sodden Southland walking clothes with bitching and moaning and sarcasm and laughter because that pisser of a fire wasn't going to do shit. And it was somewhere around here, walking with other solo women and in conversation with my new friends, that I fully grasped the understanding that loneliness is not the same as aloneness, and that the art of solitude is in finding and accepting that space between alone and lonely. I found that space and I accepted it. And while on the raining flats of Mavora Lakes, stepping in rhythm together, George, Dane and I took turns to share our walking songs. And I'm going to share that walking song with you now. And I'm going to ask you to share it with me. Don't be nervous. It's an opportunity to raise your voice, or Lucy can give you some shakers, which is not an excuse not to sing. Make some noises. Let your voice free. Let's experience that feeling of singing in group and help me live my heart singing fantasy. You going to do a shuffle. Ready? As quiet as you can. Oh, lover, let me feel. Yeah. Oh, lover, let me feel. I'm getting back into it now. Oh, lover, let me feel. You feed me. You feed me. Like the river to lake, like the sky when it breaks. Ooh, you feed me. You need me. You need me. Like the rain needs the sun, like you need no one. Ooh, you need me. Okay, shuffle time. Oh, lover, let me feel. Lover, let me feel. And now the time you can make some noises. Here we go. You, Oh, some more animal sounds. Come on. Oh, you. Brilliant. Thanks for helping me live my heart singing fantasy. Good stuff. So, camping and staying in a different hut or at a different tent site each night, it kind of invoked in me a certain sense of awareness, of nowness. You know, you have to carry everything with you, and you have to be really aware of your space in the now. You carry your whole home with you. And what is home? It's safety, shelter, nourishment. And so I carry with me as my home my tent, my sleeping bag, my mattress liner, clothes for walking, clothes for camping, spare socks, sandals, knife, cooking stuff, gas, kai and water for the stretch that I'm on, my emergency supplies, toilet paper. The list goes on and on. And I find that my routine of packing and unpacking my home in my bag becomes quite the art form. And I notice my own particularities where everything has to go in a really specific spot every single day, unlike this stuffing it into me. Which gives me anxiety every time I camp with someone like that. So once you have your home and your pack, you have your base necessities, you can add those socially acceptable luxury items. And there's a spectrum to how people interpret what it is that's an appropriate luxury item to take hiking. Unless you're an ultralight hiker, and then there's no luxury, and we're not even going to talk about them. Or there's the other end of the spectrum, like the woman I met who carried a heavy wooden walking staff the entire way. Or the man I met who carried a shovel, not a trowel, a fucking shovel, on his pack, because if you're going to shit in the woods, you might as well do it properly, he said. So my luxury items were books. I carried a notebook and pencils to record my sketches and my walking songs. And I devoured from front to back 3 times over volumes of poetry, theology, philosophy, fantasy. And then I would swap it out for something else. And I had many a very helpful person tell me how I could just load a book on a Kindle or a phone. But it's just not the same. Books in tangible form to me are home. You know, I get set up and I pop my book in a tent pocket. I'm home. I go on holiday. The first thing I do is unpack my case and take out the books I've chosen and put them on the bedside table of where I'm staying, and I'm home. I move into a new house or apartment, and sure, I can make the bed and hang my clothes, but it's not until that mantelpiece or that shelf is filled with volumes that I'm home. My first transient home that I built a bookcase into was a 72 Toyota Hiace by the name of Alma. And it was in her rambling case that I explored the red dirt and eucalypt wilds of Australia, and I learned just how diverse the definition of home can be. Like the time where I broke down in Agnes Waters and there was nothing to be seen for miles but scrub and wild ocean. And this man comes running out of the bush right where I broke down, yelling out, "You guys are doing the crazy hippie thing! I am the crazy hippie thing!" And he fucking was. And I stayed with him, Omra, and his family of 7 at their home for 3 nights, which was a wild headland overlooking the ocean and a ripped up tent. In central New South Wales, I met a woman who had crescent moons tattooed to both her cheeks. Her name was Moksha, and her home she built in the middle of the rainforest bush out of huge bamboo posts and dried animal skins that blended to the dirt to make her floor. Looking for a rock pool swimming spot in Queensland at a place called Utopia. Yes, it does exist. I took a wrong turn in Alma the van and there was no chance of turning her around. It was a rough as guts, narrow road and I just had to keep going until suddenly I popped out on a patch of green in front of a blue painted wagon wheel windowed mud brick cottage. It was a home fit for a wild woman. And as I'm frantically trying to turn around because you live in the bush so people don't show up on your doorstep, a wild woman stepped out. "You's lost?" "Kia ora, I'm so sorry, we're just turning around." "I use Kiwis." "Yeah?" "Oh yeah? Just rolled a joint, put the kettle on, you better come in, eh?" We stayed a month. The first time. Auntie Lena, as she became known to me, taught me many lessons there in Utopia. She taught me to make natural selves, to identify birds, to pick out bush tucker, to value myself. We spent many hours making lager phones and crocheting and singing and telling story and sharing dream. And I recently returned to Queensland and I found that home to me now is as much in the smell of eucalypt as it is in the sight of harakeke in bloom. Coming back to Lena's home, to ramble and to banjo, to shrine, to shuffle, to stuffing space with life. Rolling down Utopia Road, to gum and to red dirt, to sky as huge as is dense the night. Roaming cycles of sea and cloud, to heaven lifts, to earth, returns voices raised in lullaby. You are my sunshine. Be a dreamer with me. Auntie Lena left this world very recently, actually. And I feel very lucky to have been able to say goodbye to her and to share with her my dreamer's lullaby that I wrote on trail while recalling the the lessons she gave me, particularly those about what it is you carry with you, what is home, and what it is to hold a dream. Be a dreamer with me. Come sail the deepest of seas to make friends with the anemones. Be a dreamer with me. If I'm a dreamer alone, how will I write sweet songs about the ones to whom my heart belongs? If I'm a dreamer alone, so be a dreamer with me. Come climb the tallest of trees just to see what we can see. Be a dreamer with me. If I'm a dreamer alone, I'll never be able to show just how deep my roots have grown. If I'm a dreamer alone, so be a dreamer with me. Just like Peter Pan and Wendy say to growing up, no, that's not for me. Baby, I'm just here to dream. Say to growing up, no, that's not for me. 'Cause baby, I'm just here to Losing Auntie Lena changed the story. As I've noticed grief does, it changes things. Changes the plans that we had. Changes the way we see life. Changes even in its own state, I think. That classic offering that we give to people in grief where we say, time heals, it never really felt right to me. I don't think that time heals grief. I think that grief changes with time. And each grief that we experience is totally new and totally different than the last and different than anybody else's. And it often comes with an accumulative wave of past grief, past loss for us to relive at that moment as well, to remember, to repurpose, to use, to fortify. At this point on trail, as if the otherworldly beauty and unexpected colour of the Blue Lake and the Waiu Pass weren't intense enough as it is, I found myself here hit with that accumulative wave of grief. There's this insanely steep scramble to get up to the top of Waiu Pass, and I distinctly remember looking up and mistaking hikers ahead of me for mountain goats, because I could not fathom that that was where we were going, but we were. And halfway up, to keep myself moving, I start to hear the voice of my beloved friend Kate. She used to chant as we would run from Wellington City out to my flat in her tai-tai to keep me going. Light and easy, slow and steady with every footfall. Never that fast, I can't run that fast. You know, it's funny, almost 15 years on, I find it quite hard to picture Kate's face, to really see her, but her voice, the tone and the cadence of particular things that she would say and the shape of her laughter, it's like I heard her yesterday. So I reached the top of Waiu Pass and I received news of my beloved pet chicken, Jean, having died. And I cry for her. And I am hit with that accumulative wave. And I finally cry for the loss of everything, of my marriage, of my home, of my community, of my music and my career. I cry for Kate, I cry for Gabriel, I cry for my loss of my right to say no. I cry for my expectations. I cry for the gratitude of having such a huge space to be allowed to release in, and for the strangers that hold me in that space. I cry for the impermanence of everything. You know, walking in a state of grief is like walking in a dream. And when I get over the pass and into Arthur's Pass, I've been walking in this dream state for quite some time. And I'm finally moved out of it, out of the grief and into the dream a little bit more as I come into this pine forest, and the floor absolutely erupts with these pops of colour, of bright red and white and purple and pink mushrooms and toadstools, and I'm transported to memories of fairy tales and magic with my sisters, of shared dreams. You know, flying is a really common shared dream. I imagine there's some people here who have had the dream of flying in some way. Yeah. My dreams of flying are varied. Sometimes it's this easy glide, like long and low to the ground. And sometimes I'm on a chair or a random piece of furniture and I'm controlling that to make me fly. More often than not, though, it's really difficult, and I find I have to run fast and then push myself up off the ground to get any kind of height. And then even when I do get height in flight, I have to grab hold of a treetop so that I don't start sinking down again, push myself back up. Or for some reason, it always seems to be the goalposts of my Aotearoa primary school. I push off and get more height and more height to keep my flight. It's this crazy feeling of being totally free and totally weighted at the same time. It's more of a suspension, I think, than a flight. And so as I walk on, I weave stories of suspension into my step, of floating, of being once attached, of losing roots.
A loop of haze and Netflix and naps. And I've said before about the stories that play in my head that take me hours to forget. They're like losing roots, like losing roots, like losing roots, like losing roots. And these reels that play in my mind, like some kind of waking nightmare. And I'm pretty sure they're what the devil took in trade. They leave me plucked out and dropped in midair, like losing roots, like losing roots, This world, it's pretty fucked up. I smile so I don't cry, and I'm not sure I have that much to offer, but I know it's try or die. And if I have the power to play these stories so dark, maybe I can play the light. And instead of waking nightmare, this could be my reason to fly. Like losing roots. There are parts on trail that I barely remember, but for the grief that I was walking in. And at one point through Canterbury, a fellow walker, Michael, said to me, "Why don't I try imagining my dog, Chili, walking along beside me?" See, I didn't miss people on trail, but I missed my dog like a limb amputated. So it could have been her at my heel that moved me further out of that grief and into the dream. Could it have been the tall grasses singing in the breeze and exploding with the thrum of insects? Could it have been mountains made kings and queens and crowns of morning mist painted in gold? Could it have been the impossible pops of fluorescent colour in an otherwise grey riverbed? Could it have been the shock of loss, or the gratitude for ever having had it all? Could it have been life brought to acute attention for having nothing to do but keep walking?
Could it be? Could it be the river flowing, biting cold against my skin? Could it be the mothers knowing, bearing your name on the wind? Could it be the nighttime calling in the dark up to the moon? Could it be that sense of falling, waking from a dream too soon? Could it be my bones laid bare, birds and insects for to rush? Could it be I'm lost in longing? Could it be your tender touch? I would kiss your face for days if only you could hold my gaze. Who knows, maybe we'll both escape this. Could it be in walking hunger, famine biting at my tongue? Could it be the spell I'm under, eating words as they're begun? Could it be I lost my grace, but I know you are too afraid to. Could it be? Could it be in shadow shifting when the sun sinks from the sky? Could it be in mountains misty when again he dares to rise? Could it be you found my love worth to you not very much? Could it be time's subtle twisting? Could it be your tender touch? I would marry love with pain if you could carry fault with grace, but we are both too weighed in blame here. So I walk away, could it be, and I leave you right there. When I married, I took my husband's name. I already had my own name, but I changed it because it pleased him. Crossing the Aotearoa River saw me 2,520 kilometres along my journey, 8 months into my separation, fully understanding what an abusive relationship can look like, alone and leaving that name behind. Top Timaru Hut came into view after a sweltering hot couple of days of walking by myself. The path is rocky and dust-laden, and I cannot wait to get in that river. And I'm in a mood. I feel a release happening, and I don't really want to see other hikers, especially day hikers with their annoyingly happy energy. So I go down to the river for a swim, and when I come back up, there is another hiker there, a woman about my age. She's slight and strong and wild-haired and sharp features with these seeking eyes. And I mean, we are in Tolkien country. My best guess is that she's a fairy or an elf. We don't talk a lot, and when some day hikers with their happy energy do arrive, she kind of takes the lead and allows me to sit in my melancholic silence. It's stifling hot in this tiny 6-bunker with 4 of us, and I find myself going to the river again and again throughout the night to soothe my skin in the cooling rush, to cry, to contemplate this name change and what of my identity has been smothered in doing so. Needless to say, I barely slept. And the next morning we all went our separate ways, me southbound, Elf Lady northbound, the day hikers wherever they go. And I'm so grumpy. I'm stomping my way through the forest. I'm swearing at branches for no reason, just because they're there. And at about 10 a.m, I decide, fuck it, it's lunchtime. I sit down in a patch of dirt and I decide I'm going to eat all of my chocolate supply right here, right now. So I'm pulling things frantically out of my pack and this piece of paper goes flying. It's a letter. So this magical woman of the mountains, and I described her so many times to other hikers, north and southbound, nobody saw her. Elf. So this magical woman of the mountains wrote me a letter and slipped it into my pack when I wasn't looking. She wrote, I don't know your name, but I see your pain, and I want you to know that I'm going to hold you in my heart and know that you'll be okay. She signed it, whatever your name is, know that you are loved. And she didn't sign her name. This beautiful stranger in this moment, in this unremarkable patch of dirt in the forest, gifted to me a release and a reclamation of my name. She's been walking from sunrise on rock and river, mountain pass. Her body's tired, her feet resigned, their step to reach her camp at last. Cloaked in sunset, skin is cleaned by river's hands, and here she meets a woman, painted blue as sky, silence for smile and tears for eyes. What's your story, and how does your name carry who you are? The woman blue replies, it's you, it's moon, it's rain, it's stars. So long to waiting, waiting at the storm. Turn your face to thunder, maiden mother crone. So long to waiting for the new unknown. Answer to your hunger, maiden mother crone. She turns her gaze up to the night as woman asks, and what of you? Are you named for who you are, for who you were, or what you do? Cloaked in darkness, skin is raised by hands of wind and cool embrace. And it's here she whispers to the night, to a name she'd loved goodbye. Voices raising, feet to the earth, beating out her heart in freedom till the morning comes. She and the woman dance. So long to waiting, waiting out the storm. Turn your face to thunder, maiden mother crone. So long to waiting for the new unknown. Answer to your hunger, maiden mother crone. She sleeps in peace at dawn's approach, while woman blue slips her a note. Into her travelling bag it reads, who you are, it's what you'll be. Start your story as often as you're moved to do. Now as she walks she sings her names, mother, maiden, crone, and woman blue. So long to naming all your broken bones. Answer to your hunger, go and walk alone. She's been walking from sunrise on rock and river, mountain pass. Her hands touch paper, finds the note, the words of which herself she wrote. So long to waiting, waiting at the storm. Turn your face to thunder, maiden mother crone. So long to naming all your broken bones. Turn your heart to wonder, maiden mother crone. Turn your heart to wonder, your name is your own. The Timaru River that I returned to again and again on that night of release and reclaim, I walked through half the following day as well. If the the TA notes tell you that you're going to do a bunch of river crossings, just be prepared to walk in the water all day. Water on trail defines your daily plan. It dictates your pace, your meal choice, your laundry habits, the mosquito situation. Water is God. Cleaner, clearer, life force, reviver. Water is
God. I remember my first swim at Waikoropupu stream, and I felt this intense self-satisfaction to finally be there, alone in the bush, with just the little pea waka waka dancing above me. It was perfect bliss in solitude. Canoeing the Whangarei River in raucous laughter, and then in complete silence except for the stroke of paddle and the kick of the kotare bouncing off the cavernous river walls. I was enamoured by the colour change in the Richmond Ranges, this icy blue and shimmering grey palette that I'd never seen before. The whistling of the fiord greeted me on the Motupohue River in the north, and the light, fractured, splitting rainbows over the thundering Travers Falls in the south held me in hypnosis. Sitting at the edge of Lake Pukaki, my meditation is interrupted by a group of retirees who come bellowing, laughing and running across the sand and diving into the lake, breaking its perfectly mirrored surface. I sit with one of them, Keith, and we talk for about half an hour about how his greatest lesson in life so far has been forgiveness. At the northernmost point of Te Araroa or Aotearoa, the water meets as two oceans and provides a leaping place for Māori ancestors travelling from one life to the next. And in the south, this thick olive seaweed seethes against the rock, the movement tempting new departure upon arrival. River swimming on trail for me was just another exercise in my comfort with discomfort. And at each cleansing dip, I allow another part of that fear and blame and hope to be taken by the flow. And by the end, no fear, named or otherwise, can stop me from stripping off and jumping in at the sight of a body of water to hold me.
Lead me to the river, baby, steady as she goes. Collecting and discarding the river flow. I pulled apart the pieces, searching for me, scared to continue, the result might be like blood on the skin, collecting and discarding the flow. River does not alter, baby. It's water, earth, and stone. But bend and stretch and grow and change direction. Oh, steady as she goes. Steady but always changing the river flows. And loving you was all there was.
met countless weird and wonderful people on trail. I made some really special connections, and I made some reconnections as well, particularly with these sisters you see on stage with me. One soul sister, one biological. My sister Lucy rescued me more than a few times, actually. And she walked with me for 4 days on the Queen Charlotte track. And in that time, I laughed more and heartier than I have in years. Like, we wet our pants kind of laughter. And I remembered what it's like to feel happiness. Not as a state of being, contented, but happiness that comes as a pure moment. You know, it's never too late to start again, to try new things, to change your name. Never too late to experience happiness as a pure moment. In Russell, I stayed at Cheryl's place, a trail icon. And we've got some TA walkers here. And she told me that over the 10 years of hosting walkers, she had found that most of them were either looking for love or looking to lose love. And which was I? And I remember feeling relief when I answered without hesitation that I was neither. That although I have lost love, the one thing that I know that I have in abundance is love. And that is everything that I need.
For a space free of pain. Hello to gentle hearts, forgiving us our shame. I have everything I need. I have everything I need. So hollow to solitude where loneliness ends. Hello to agony and to starting again. Hello to silence. Hello to song. Goodbye to what's left behind. Hello to moving on. I have everything I need. I have everything I need. So hollow to words that torture and steal, words of love
loud support from those legends finishing with me that day, and many a bottle of bubbles popped. I take a moment to just stare out at the ocean. And so I arrive and I find on arrival, I know who I am. And I know that I have a huge space of me yet to become. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing next, or where my path is going to take me, but I know that I'm okay to do it alone. The poet Rilke says, it's good to be alone, for solitude is difficult, and that something is difficult is just one more reason to do it. And so, at my arrival, I find that I am ready for departure, and I walk on.